Carl Jung once said that lust is not about sex. It is about power. It is about hunger. It is about an emptiness so deep that it tries to fill itself with the flesh of another. Most people misunderstand lust. They think it is simply desire gone wild, a physical craving, a biological instinct to mate. But Jung saw something darker. He saw that lust is born when your soul becomes starved of connection to itself, when you do not know who you are, when your life feels hollow, when your days are soaked in numbness. Lust appears as a fire that makes you feel alive again. But that fire does not illuminate. It burns you from within. Jung warned that lust is not love distorted. It is the shadow of love. It is desire ripped away from the soul and reduced to its lowest form. Love is the union of souls, the merging of truths, the dissolving of barriers between two beings who have learned to be whole within themselves. Lust is the opposite. It is the devouring of another to feed your own emptiness. It is consuming bodies to escape the loneliness of your own mind. It is addiction disguised as passion. And like all addictions, it destroys what it feeds upon. He said that the world celebrates lust because it is easy. It requires no growth, no vulnerability, no courage. It is the path of least resistance, where you do not have to face your own pain or confront your fears of intimacy. You simply use. You use the body of another to feel powerful. You use their attention to silence your insecurities. You use their submission to avoid confronting your own shadows. Lust is the easiest way to feel godlike for a fleeting moment. You conquer. You dominate. You take. And for those few moments, you feel infinite. But then the darkness returns. The emptiness crawls back into your chest. The shame begins to rot your bones, and you crave again. Jung warned that the cycle of lust is the same as any drug. The more you consume, the more you need. The more you need, the less satisfied you become. Until you are trapped in a cycle of endless hunger that no body, no beauty, no experience can ever satisfy. Because what you truly hunger for is not pleasure. It is union, not with another, but with yourself. He said that lust controls the world because most people live disconnected from their souls. They are raised to perform, to please, to obey, to become what others need them to be. Their lives become performances. Their relationships become negotiations. Their words become tools for approval. They lose connection to their inner world, and in that void, lust grows like a parasite. It whispers, "If you can have them, you are powerful. If you can conquer their body, you are worthy. If they desire you, you exist." And so the world becomes obsessed with being desired. People spend their lives sculpting their bodies, curating their images, sharpening their words to attract and seduce, but beneath it all lies terror. The terror of not being loved, the terror of being invisible, the terror of having to face their own soul in silence. Jung believed that this terror is what lust feeds upon. It is not about sex. It is about fear, the fear of being nothing. He warned that societies that worship lust are societies that have lost connection to meaning, because lust thrives where meaning dies. When people no longer find purpose in creation, in self-discovery, in service to something greater than their own desires, they begin to worship their desires themselves. Their pleasures become their gods. Their bodies become their temples. Their cravings become their prayers. And they kneel willingly before the false idols of fleeting ecstasy, never realizing that they are sacrificing their souls at the altar of their shadows. Jung saw that lust is the shadow of the soul's desire to merge with the infinite. At its highest, desire seeks union with truth, with meaning, with God, with the self. But when this desire is cut off from its spiritual roots, it collapses into lust. It becomes corrupted into the mere consumption of sensation. It is the soul's hunger for divine love reduced to a frantic scramble for pleasure. And no matter how many bodies you collect, no matter how many experiences you consume, the hunger only grows, because you are feeding a spiritual emptiness with physical experiences. It is like trying to quench thirst by eating sand. Jung warned the world that if we do not integrate our shadows, they will consume us. Lust is one of the most powerful shadows, because it feels good, because it is praised, because it gives a momentary illusion of power. But every time you give in to lust without awareness, you are feeding your shadow and starving your soul. You are becoming more disconnected from your truth. You are teaching your mind that worth is measured by conquest, that love is proven through possession, that peace can be bought with pleasure. But the soul knows otherwise. He believed that to overcome lust is not to suppress it, but to understand it, to see what it truly is, to see the fear that gives it life, to see the pain that feeds it, to see the emptiness it tries to fill. And when you see it clearly, without judgment, without shame, you reclaim the power it has stolen from you. You begin to see that the desire was never for another's body. It was for your own wholeness. It was your soul's desperate attempt to return to itself. Jung warned that if humanity continues to worship lust, it will lose its ability to love. Because love requires vulnerability, patience, courage, and self-awareness. Lust requires none of these. Lust is the predator that devours without feeling. Love is the gardener that nurtures without need. Lust burns everything it touches. Love makes everything it touches bloom. But to love, you must first become whole within yourself. Otherwise, what you call love is just lust wearing a mask of poetry. This was Carl Jung's warning to the world. Lust will continue to control humanity as long as humanity remains disconnected from its own soul. And only those who have the courage to face their own emptiness, to walk into their shadows, and to integrate their desires, will ever be free. Carl Jung believed that lust is not born in the body. It is born in the mind that has lost its center. He saw people chasing pleasures endlessly, thinking that each conquest would bring them closer to happiness. But what he saw beneath their smiles and their boasts was emptiness. The emptiness of a life built upon the desire to be desired. Because lust is never about the other person. It is always about the self. It is about trying to escape your own loneliness by merging with another body, even if it is only for a moment. He warned that when a society glorifies lust, it is a sign of deep spiritual decay, because lust is the easiest drug to manufacture. You do not need wisdom, or courage, or patience. You only need a body and a willing participant. The world celebrates lust because it is profitable. Industries thrive on it. Markets are built around it. Advertisements are crafted to provoke it. From clothes to food to entertainment, everything is soaked in the silent promise of lust. Buy this and you will be wanted. Wear this and you will be desired. Drive this and they will crave you. But what no one tells you is that when you build your life upon being desired, you become a product. And products are meant to be consumed and discarded. Jung saw that lust is the shadow of connection. It is the counterfeit of love. It feels intense, urgent, uncontrollable. It makes your heart race and your mind go blind. But it is not intimacy. It is not union. It is not trust, or devotion, or truth. Lust is hunger pretending to be passion. It is emptiness pretending to be power. And people fall into its illusion because it is easier to chase bodies than to sit with your own mind in silence. Silence terrifies those who have built their lives upon noise. He warned that as long as you seek yourself through another's eyes, you remain a slave. Lust is slavery because it teaches you that your worth is defined by how desirable you are. And the moment you begin to age, the moment your body changes, the moment you no longer fit the curated mold of desire, you begin to feel worthless. People who worship lust die 1,000 deaths before their final breath, because every wrinkle feels like decay. Every gray hair feels like rejection. Every curve that does not fit societal standards feels like punishment. They live terrified of becoming invisible, never realizing that true love is blind to these illusions. Jung said that lust destroys love because it reduces the other to an object. You no longer see their soul. You only see what they can give you. You no longer care about their truth. You only care about your pleasure. And once your hunger is fed, you leave, searching for another body to fill the void again. But the void remains, growing deeper with every passing conquest, because you are not feeding your soul. You are feeding your shadow. He believed that to heal from lust's control, you must return to yourself. You must sit with your loneliness until it transforms into solitude. You must sit with your hunger until it transforms into clarity. You must sit with your shame until it transforms into acceptance. Only then will lust lose its grip upon your mind, because lust is not destroyed by suppression. It is transformed by integration. When you integrate your desire, you begin to see its true form. You see that your craving for touch was a craving for warmth. Your craving for dominance was a craving for self-confidence. Your craving for conquest was a craving for worth. And once you see these truths, you can begin to feed your soul directly, instead of devouring others in the hope of feeling full. Carl Jung warned the world that lust is the easiest path to self-destruction. It feels like life, but it is a slow death, because it drains your energy, it clouds your clarity, it distracts you from your purpose, and it keeps you chained to your fears. Lust thrives in fear, fear of rejection, fear of loneliness, fear of being unloved, and it promises to silence these fears with pleasure. But pleasure is temporary. Fear is eternal until faced. He said that when you conquer your lust, you do not become Buddha or celibate or indifferent. You become free. Free to love without needing to consume. Free to connect without needing to conquer. Free to desire without becoming enslaved by desire. Because true desire is sacred. It is not frantic. It is not manipulative. It is not desperate. True desire is a river flowing from your soul towards another soul, not to take, but to merge and to expand. It does not burn you alive. It warms you into growth. Jung's warning to the world was simple. As long as you chase lust without understanding its shadow, it will lead you deeper into the prison of your own emptiness. But if you turn and face it, if you ask it what it truly wants, if you see the pain beneath its fire, you will find that lust was never the enemy. Your disconnection from your own soul was. And when you reconnect with your soul, lust transforms into love. Desire transforms into devotion. And emptiness transforms into fullness. This was his warning. That a world addicted to lust is a world running from itself. And until you stop running, you will keep mistaking the heat of lust for the warmth of love, and the consumption of pleasure for the fulfillment of life. But they are not the same. One burns everything it touches. The other makes everything it touches bloom. Carl Jung once said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Lust is one of the deepest unconscious forces within humans. It is older than morality, older than civilization, older than religion. It is the primal fire that kept our species alive, the instinct that drove our ancestors to multiply and conquer. But in the modern world, where survival is no longer a daily battle against death, lust has become something else. It has become entertainment. It has become identity. It has become the measure of worth. And Jung warned that when lust becomes your identity, you are no longer human. You are an animal wearing human skin. He saw that lust thrives in the shadows because it is a force people fear to face. Society dresses it up with poetry and glamour, filters and seduction, perfumes and promises. But beneath the velvet wrapping lies the same primal scream. I want to devour you, so I do not have to feel my own emptiness. Jung saw men and women alike chasing lust like moths to a flame, knowing it will burn them, but unable to stop, because lust gives them a feeling of life they cannot find anywhere else. It makes them feel powerful when they feel weak. It makes them feel wanted when they feel invisible. It makes them feel infinite when they are terrified of their own mortality. But he warned that this feeling is an illusion, because true power does not come from consuming another's body. It comes from mastering your own. True worth does not come from being desired. It comes from desiring your own truth above all else. True infinity does not come from escaping mortality through pleasure. It comes from embracing mortality through meaning. Lust offers none of these. It offers only temporary oblivion, a momentary escape from yourself. And every time you use it for that purpose, you become more disconnected from who you truly are. Jung believed that the danger of lust is not in the act itself, but in what it masks. Underneath lust lies grief. The grief of disconnection from your own soul. The grief of never being truly loved for who you are. The grief of never loving yourself enough to sit in silence without needing to be touched. Lust is the fire people use to burn away their grief. But fire only creates ash. It does not heal what it burns. He warned that if you want to be free from lust's control, you must first understand what you are truly craving. You are not craving a body. You are craving intimacy. You are not craving conquest. You are craving connection. You are not craving submission. You are craving peace from your own self-doubt. And none of these can be satisfied by lust, because lust is hunger without wisdom. It devours without nourishing. It conquers without caring. It uses without honoring. It takes without giving. And in the end, it leaves you emptier than before. Carl Jung saw lust as the shadow of love. Love is sacred. Love is rooted in truth. Love expands you beyond yourself. Lust collapses you into yourself. Love is brave because it requires vulnerability. Lust is cowardly because it requires only hunger. Love is divine because it is the merging of souls. Lust is primitive because it is the collision of bodies. And while there is nothing wrong with desire itself, when it becomes separated from soul, it becomes shadow. And shadows always lead you into darkness if you do not integrate them. His warning to the world was that a society addicted to lust is a society running from its own suffering. It is a society of people trying to heal wounds with pleasures that only deepen the wounds. It is a society that worships the body while neglecting the soul. And no matter how beautiful the bodies, no matter how intense the pleasures, such a society will rot from within, because it has forgotten the difference between consumption and communion, between using and loving, between lust and true intimacy. Jung believed that the integration of lust begins with facing yourself honestly. Ask what you are escaping. Ask what pain you are trying to silence. Ask what powerlessness you are trying to erase. And then sit with those truths until they no longer terrify you. Because only when you no longer fear your own emptiness can you desire without being enslaved by desire. Only when you are whole within yourself can you love without needing to consume. Only when you have embraced your own shadow can you touch another without trying to steal their light. He said that in the end, lust is a teacher. It shows you where you are hungry for yourself. It shows you where you have abandoned your own soul. It shows you the parts of you that still seek worth in the eyes of others. And if you are brave enough to look at it not with shame or moral judgment, but with curiosity and love, it will lead you back to yourself. But if you keep feeding it blindly, it will consume everything that is sacred within you. Your dignity, your clarity, your peace, your self-respect, your love. This was Carl Jung's warning to the world. Lust is not evil. But unintegrated lust becomes evil when it turns humans into objects and turns love into consumption. It becomes evil when it replaces meaning with pleasure and replaces truth with performance. And until humanity chooses to see lust for what it is, the shadow of a disconnected soul, it will continue to worship its own destruction. Comment below. I choose truth over hunger. Subscribe to Psychatic for more Carl Jung truths on shadows, desire, and the psychology that frees your soul. If this video awakened your inner clarity, consider leaving a super thanks to support this channel. Share this with someone who mistakes lust for love today.